I'm Paul Bedford, and today we're joined by Michelle Keegan, who is the prime organiser of Robopalooza.
Robots are about to take over Perth with the launch of the Robopalooza Space Festival, created by one of NASA's senior technologists. WA's mining expertise prompting organisers to bring the two-day event down under.
Probably about 6 months all up, trying to get people excited, every day through the different posts we're doing over social media. It really did build huge excitement in Perth. So one, having that excitement that different industries were coming together and different ways for kids to interact was great. But I mean, probably the biggest, I suppose, proud moment would be the fact that there was probably over 400 kids there on the STEM day.
So what were your key takeaways from IMARC? So, for yourself, you've recently stepped into a new CEO role. Can you give us a brief overview of what's happening there? Welcome back to the Gold Room podcast. I'm Paul Bedford, and today we're joined by Michelle Keegan, who is the prime organiser of Robopalooza. And Michelle is, we believe, is one of the most exciting movements in robotics and automation. And you're one of the driving forces behind that. So it had, from its early beginnings, now becoming a headline event bringing together industry, education, and innovation. So Michelle has been there since day one. And she's just stepped into a new CEO role, which we might touch on a little bit there. And you're fresh from IMARC, which is the International Mining and Resources Conference. Sorry, yeah. And of course the latest Robopalooza. We spoke with Michelle there a few months ago in the lead up to Robopalooza, and we sort of she gave us a basic idea of what Robopalooza is about. So I guess let's start at the beginning. What inspired you, just for the people that might not have seen that episode, what inspired you to get involved with Robopalooza and promote it like that?
Yeah, and thanks, Paul, and it was great to actually see you out there as well, and thanks for the opportunity to come back and talk about it again. When I met Rob Mueller, who was kind of really the brainchild behind this about 2 years ago, I didn't really know what the event was ever going to be about. I got a bit of a taste of what he produced in the Mojave Desert last year, but I got a taste of that from afar, from sitting in Perth.
Yes.
And so, his vision is always about inspiring the next generation into not just robotics and automation, but to be able to inspire people into what could the future look like when we think about operation on the moon or on Mars, and the fact that there'll be so many people from across the world that will have a role in playing to operate rovers, other equipment on the moon. It'll be done via telepresence. And so giving people a taste of that experience via these kind of events of what could be their future, their role in that is the bigger vision. And so for me, I've spent the last few years across both the resources and space sector, and a big part of that was actually about bringing the nation along on the journey of designing Australia's first lunar rover to inspire kids, right across the nation, and beyond. Yep. But when I say kids, I mean everyone from those that are, in primary school through to high school, thinking about what next, as well as those that are either at TAFE or university and contemplating what do they do, post any kind of study or any kind of apprenticeship. And so I love the fact that we can inspire people into what else, but also across industry. When we're starting to bring together different sectors, we start to again imagine what else is possible if we'd work together. And so that was kind of what inspired me, is to bring something fresh to Perth, bring something that brought together different generations, but also maybe change up how we run a conference.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So just to clear up one point, it's Rob Mueller, not Tom Mueller of SpaceX.
No.
So I had a couple of people, you had Tom Mueller on that? No, involved, but it was actually Rob Mueller, who's well up in NASA, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it's Rob Mueller. He's actually works at NASA at Kennedy Space Center, and co-founded the SwampWorks there, and
Yep.
a big part of that is actually about bringing the next generation into the Lunabotics competition.
Yep.
And yeah, he's been doing that for many years, almost 40 years at NASA, although his work at Robopalooza is actually in a volunteer capacity with the IEEE, which is the world's largest professional body. So yeah, we were able to bring together many different factors just through his connection there, not to mention other industry organisations and all the space sector that he works with in the US regularly.
So how did you get in touch with a person like Rob Mueller, and how did those early conversations go?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been bringing the mining sector to NASA over the last couple of years, and it's quite a big group in those NASA conferences, and he happened to be there, and we kind of talked about what could we do together, what could we collaborate on, and so it really just started through a conversation at a social function outside the NASA workshop, and even when he said, why wouldn't we take the next Robopalooza to Perth and put that at
so that was his suggestion?
Yeah, his suggestion was to bring it from the US to the robotics precinct. He'd heard about the ARP, or I'd mentioned it, he'd heard from others about it, and so I said, yeah, I absolutely want to be a part of it. It really does kind of fit with everything I've been doing with the last few years. And we had a great opportunity as well to be able to leverage the fact that so many people, over 10,000 people, are coming to Sydney the week prior to the world's largest space conference called IEC. And so, when he said, do you want to do that? I said, absolutely. I started to then bring a team around me, some amazing people from here in Perth, as well as one of the guys from over in Sydney and many others as well.
The event had massive momentum, and, so what were your personal highlights of Robopalooza as you saw it? That make you sort of proud on how far you've come with it so far?
Yeah, and I think even just the fact that we pulled this together in, it was probably about 6 months all up, trying to get people excited, every day through the different posts we're doing over social media, it really did build huge excitement in Perth. So one, having that excitement that different industries were coming together in different ways for kids to interact was great. But, I mean, probably the biggest I suppose proud moment would be the fact that there was probably over 400 kids there on the STEM day.
Yeah.
And so much energy behind every one of them through that day. They were, totally engaged in what they were seeing, what they were doing. We had STEM companies from across Australia. We had also Edith Cowan University as a major sponsor, had a big team kind of pulling together just some really amazing exhibitions, showcasing everything that they do, but they also work really closely with NASA Ames to be able to bring technology from over there, as well as the Pisces team from Hawaii. And so, I guess it's just with everyone's passion about what we're creating, just made it a really fun environment, for kids. And I think we've got some surveys that we're sending out.
Oh, good.
And we'd love everyone that came to send out those surveys, because we want to know, what worked. What did this inspire your children to do? And, what else could we do in this state or beyond? But, those kind of faces of kids were, probably the highlight for many people. And then, on the industry day, the fact that we had, people out there for a number of hours just talking to sectors that they hadn't done before, just created this new energy as well, and a new excitement. I don't know all of the collaborations that are starting to emerge, from this event, but coming into it, there was a US organisation who was pretty inspired by meeting the mining tech companies, and has already started to put together a proposal for a grant submission in the US. So you can kind of just see that there's some momentum, and this kind of movement is building across regions. We actually had the chief scientist from the European Space Agency there, and that was just Rob kind of realising he was over east at the time and said, hey, why don't you come over? And then so you get this other view from another region again, and he tried to inspire even more people, and he actually offered up, I think it was a couple of internships for students to go over to Europe. And so again, by being in this environment, seeing everyone that was there, it just created more opportunity. Everyone wanted to be a part of what's next. We had our premier sponsor Caterpillar there as well, and they had a huge exhibit there showcasing remote operation of a dozer down in Collie. So, big expense there and putting that together. But that wasn't just exciting for kids on the STEM day, but for the mining industry and also the space industry, just to get a bit of a taste for what we do.
Yeah, I think STEM is obviously the key, and we need to keep push on STEM and get our kids involved. Not taking away from making lattes, but we need to push technology, I think, with our kids. And I think Rob Mueller seemed like I listened to his speech, it seemed like he got a pleasant surprise that there was such a infrastructure over here that we could cater for this.
Yeah, actually that is another highlight is the fact that everyone got to see the ARP and what's possible, and Rob himself and the IEEE team didn't fully appreciate, what was here. You can see the photos, you can see the flyovers of the art, but once you're actually in there and starting to put everything together, for the day, he was not only really pleasantly surprised around the infrastructure that was there, but also just every kind of company that had signed up to being a part of this as a sponsor or as a supporter. And that's really, post that is what we've been talking about. Where next? How can we take this to an even bigger stage? How can we bring together, Western Australia, a nation, and other nations? We were lucky to have Minister Dawson actually open the industry day, and he and his team, Ivana, were really excited by the possibilities of what's next as well. And so, we actually want to make Western Australia a place for people to come and spend, more time to build businesses, to see what else we can create here, to be able to export across the globe, but also be able to, export, jobs and people that'll come back to West Australia and continue to do more.
Okay, so just moving away from Robopalooza for a tick, but you recently travelled to IMARC in Sydney. So what were your key takeaways from IMARC that you could put forward there?
IMARC is always it's a event that just has so much energy. You have 10,000 people, you have so many different METS companies, on the floor, and I think we're certainly seeing more people from across the globe. There's a big Saudi contingent and Chinese. There's also the state of Utah brought a big group of people over because of the critical minerals flow between the nations. And so when you start to see what's possible from these kind of conversations, again, it just kind of opens up more and more. I guess kind of thinking about what businesses could do across these regions, but even testing of technologies across the regions to be able to continue to accelerate. So the conversations continue to focus on advancement of artificial intelligence and what's possible for that, whether it's in any part of the mining value chain, and that's probably one of the biggest kind of growth areas you continue to see at IMARC and new companies and people that are there.
So, for yourself, you've recently stepped into a new CEO role. Can you give us a brief overview of what's happening there?
Really excited to join the team. So Bryce Gower's the founder of Augment Technologies, and he and the team have been building the business for the last 8 years.
Yes.
It's a business that I actually invested in a few years ago as well, so have been watching from the sideline. But this company and the vision that Bryce and the team have really, I think, is quite game changing, and will transform what we do in mining. And so when looking to the places that I spend time and the places I work, you always have to have your own passion and your own connection to that vision. And so have been working with the team for the last few months, and immersing myself into what they've built and what's possible, not just in Australia but across the globe. And so really exciting. I think it kind of it meant for me, kind of taking advantage of the different capabilities I can bring, but also, working really closely with just this team that have got really strong data science capability and domain expertise, and are building something that is going to be amazing in industry for many years to come.
Must be exciting for you. Yeah. Yep. So with regards to youth and future talent, always emphasised engaging students and future innovators. What progress have you seen there, and what's next? I guess to keep that momentum going. Is it like future versions of Robopalooza and similar sort of things such as that?
Yeah, I think. Inspiring. So if you look at one of the other elements that we had at Robopalooza, which was a startup showcase, so we actually had people both from the space sector, from the mining sector, and we purposely put together those showcases of innovators that both had a vision within the particular industry, so it might have been mining or space, but also a vision to do something across sector. And so if you think about what did Robopalooza create, it created an understanding of what's possible for students, and they may switch between sectors multiple times in their careers, or go down one path or the other, looking at innovators that could also kind of take similar paths, and then some of the large OEMs that might want to acquire some of these companies or work closely with these. I think all of these elements make up what we're starting to bring together, and what could the next Robopalooza be, and really what is that bigger goal or objective for students and for industry. And we also recognise how important music is when you think about, STEM and the addition of the arts. You get STEAM, and that's just an element that just brings that human side, I guess. Rob kind of calls it, to the table. And so if we can take advantage of getting bigger and bigger kind of music element around this that continues to excite people from that human side, then we'll build that out alongside the technology. And investment is really important here, as well as government support, because if we're going to create this connection across industries that we want to continue to flourish, it's creating economic development in these areas, but also this will only continue if there's funding behind these companies as well. So building out each one of those elements will be big focus for us.
So that leads on to my next question, is like some of the biggest challenges in growing Robopalooza. So you'll be involved in the future, I take it, or?
Absolutely. I'll definitely have a role. I look forward to working with Rob, and we'll continue to build out the team. If we want to take this to another level and a bigger platform, we need to build a bigger team, around us.
So will Perth see it again, or will it move on to somewhat other city, or?
Really want to keep doing something in Perth. I guess over time, it kind of just depends on where and how this could occur. So nothing firm for next year right now for Perth, but we're not going to let this go as a city. So just we could end up rotating this through multiple different places around the globe. Absolutely. And whether this is in Perth, 1 year and in another place another year, it's important to bring Perth there, and the innovators and the students.
I think so.
And because that's the connection that needs to be maintained, and the inspiration that needs to continue, and to bring that back to what's possible here.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the best advice you've ever heard or received? Something that's guided you through your leadership and innovation career. What could you offer to say for younger people that might be looking up to you and saying, well, I'd like to do that sort of thing? What can you say to them?
I'll probably say the same thing, often, but I didn't have any plans to join the space sector, and then I found myself in it, and continue to be more and more curious about what's possible. And I think, you saw the curiosity in so many kids at Robopalooza. That's what we wanted to generate, and I think make so having that curiosity and what else is out there that you may not have explored is really important, but also being open to what else is possible is equally as important, and making a decision on your career, on your future, on your work, or your, I guess, just where you spend time in learning more may be very different tomorrow compared to today. And when you immerse yourself around different people from different sectors, you continue to open yourself up to different worlds. And I think, it's just maintaining that openness. And, everyone from across the space sector that joined us here in Perth, had just a huge amount of curiosity themselves coming out here, but just excitement about what is possible. And I think keeping that excitement is what will create great things for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, it's a new frontier, really, isn't it? I mean, space has been a little bit stagnant, I guess you'd say, for a lot of maybe decades, but it's what's happening now is truly exciting.
Yeah.
And I bet you're glad to be a part of that. And so now, Michelle, thank you for coming back to the Gold Room podcast and so giving us an inside look at Robopalooza, how it went, and its potential future. And so it came from the first spark of an idea to where it ended up here and where it's also going next. So we wish you the very best for that. To our listeners, if you haven't already check out Robopalooza website, and how else can people interact with the system?
Yeah, I mean, the Robopalooza website is set up so that you can actually provide comments from the 2 days that you were there, and we would love to have more feedback. Drop in kind of photos or stories, so we can continue to showcase that on our website, and also get those ideas for the next steps. But I guess if there are ideas of what else we can do in Perth today and not wait for that next Robopalooza, that's what we want to know. But, this event wouldn't have happened without the sponsors and supporters that were here all the way through. So I think, big thank you to the team, the Robopalooza team, from across Australia and overseas, and every one of those sponsors and teams within those organisations that came. Reach out to our website. We also have a LinkedIn page, and would love to hear more. Love to hear what people want to do with what's here right now too.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, Michelle, thank you very much. I'll just do a quick take for our good friend Eric Hill. I hope everything's going all right for you, Hilly, and we're thinking of you, mate. So, so this has been the Gold Room podcast. I'm Paul Bedford. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.